there, Comic Clan, and welcome to Comics and the Cross, the greatest streamers you have never heard of. No, I did not almost forget my opening line there because I'm distracted with stuff. I 100% know what I'm talking about. I, of course, am one of your hosts for today, Cross, sitting alongside my partner in crime, Nitro. Nitro, say hi to the lovely people.
What up, everybody? And I'm distracted by the fact that Ads, I forgot, has 7 kids.
7 kids. I knew it was a lot. I'm like,
It's crazy.
I knew it was like double my kids, and I'm like,
God bless you.
Ads, like,
God bless you.
Ads, the stud muffin that you are, sir. Like, son, like, I've got 3 kids, and like, I am like done. How you've got 7 kids that are still walking? I have no clue. Like, Congratulations, sir.
You're a beast.
You are, man. You're an absolute beast, Ads. Love you to bits, brother. But welcome on in to our podcast for today. We are going to be talking about some of the summer shows, because literally, like, so many shows happened this summer.
Dude, a ton of
and we've just like not had the chance to actually sit down and talk about some of them. So we're kind of going to just go through them. We're not going to go do in-depth review, because I kind of want to get these out the road. I don't want to like push off like our whole like end of August, start of September schedule.
Yeah.
Being talking about all the shows we missed and just put ourselves deeper in a hole with other stuff, because other stuff's going to happen if we do that.
Oh, yeah.
I know it is, and I'm like, it's not worth it at this point. Like, so I just want to do a little roundup of stuff to kind of give our thoughts on it, because we had big shows. Because we had Ms. Marvel dropped, Stranger Things dropped,
Yep.
The Boys season 3 dropped,
Yep.
and then I completely forgot, even in like advertising for today, it wasn't until like I sat down today and went, oh crap, Obi-Wan Kenobi was a thing that happened. Like, he came in freaking May, and I'm like, that's just totally, that started in May and just totally just did not fit in, because we had so much other stuff we had to fit in during July.
There was a ton of stuff that happened.
As well as the fact of like, we had a bunch of days off as well, which is rare for us. Like, us taking days off, like, especially myself, like me taking a day off just doesn't happen.
I was about to say, I have no problem with it.
Oh, you have no problem with it. I'm in the ADHD camp of like, where it's hard for me to focus on something except when I get very passionate about it.
Yeah.
And then I hyper focus. And this is my baby. Comics and the Cross is like my baby that I like hyper focus on, and like I need to stop myself. Like, literally, like, I need to force myself to not do it. It's like, but there's so many facets of it, so taking a Sunday of the podcast off is like hard for me.
Why don't you pump the brakes there, bud?
I know. No, absolutely I do. I completely do. And I do need to pump the brakes.
Just a side note, if any of you have Windows and you've recently updated, check your audio settings, because they're probably destroyed.
Guess when we figured that out? After I hit the go live button.
Yeah, I figured it out. Well, I didn't figure it out until today what the issue was on Thursday, because it reset all my settings in OBS.
And of course I've not used any of my audio stuff since like Tuesday night, because that's the last day I stream. I've not streamed since Tuesday, so it all reset and I had no idea. So I came in here for our pre-show. Like, we came on live for the pre-show than usual. So I was already going live just with music playing. Nitro came on, couldn't hear him. My audio stuff had went off, my mic wasn't tuned in right, and then we started chatting and I realised my mic wasn't moving on Stream Elements, and I'm like, oh, that's right, the mic's reset here as well. I need to put it to my freaking... It's only been set to the snowball for 2 years. It's only been set on this mic for 2 years, and like, we're going to reset everything. Like, thanks. But yeah, we're hyped to just talk and hang out today. This is going to be another very chill stream.
Yep, kind of like the one we did a few weeks ago. What was it? What did we talk about?
That was even it was like last week's stream. We were very chilled out as well. We didn't.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Just because like, we've had so much stuff on, and then it's like, you get to shows like this where it's like, I need to chill out. After the podcast, I'm going to watch episode 8 of Lock and Key. I have not seen the latest season of Lock and Key. I don't have Netflix anymore.
Did you get rid of it?
Oh yeah, we got rid of it months ago. I'm not willing to pay. We got Netflix officially, like, Hannah had it before, but we officially got Netflix on when I moved to the States, so like 2014. So that's 8 years ago.
Okay.
That's 8 years ago. 8 years ago yesterday, actually. It was 8-year anniversary was yesterday that I moved to the States. So we got it when I moved to the States. In those 8 years, it had doubled in price.
Yeah.
They went up to $20 a month, and I'm like,
that's crazy, man.
Which, I'm not against like companies like rising in price and stuff like that, and $20 is still fairly... Thanks for that, Lurk LJ. Appreciate you, brother. I'm not against companies raising prices. My problem is that it's raised to double the price. It was $10 a month when there wasn't competition. There wasn't HBO Max, there wasn't Disney Plus, there wasn't Hulu, there wasn't Amazon Prime. Like, well, there was Prime, but you know what I mean. Like, there wasn't this mass amount of streaming competitors.
Netflix was it.
It was like Netflix and chill came because it was the only one to do.
Yeah.
But in those 8 years, so many other streaming stuff has came out that I'm like, Netflix, you're not putting out good enough content.
Yeah.
To justify me paying $20 a month.
Which one do you watch? Would you say that you watch the most? It might. I guess it changes depending on.
It depends what's going on. I would say like Disney Plus was a definite for us. Between like Marvel content, Star Wars content, all that sort of stuff that I do just personally as well as for the job now.
Yeah.
All the Disney stuff in that, the Jay enjoys as well as for the kids as well.
Mm-hmm.
And of course one of the greatest shows of all time, which season 3 just dropped off, Bluey. I am a Bluey dad. That show's way better than it has any right to be for a show for kids. 100%.
I've never seen that before.
You need to watch it. Isaac from Infinity Bros will back me up. By the way, the show's phenomenal.
All right.
Like the dad of the show, Bandit, is like 100% like the dad we all aspire to be, and will never ever attain. Like 100%. Check it out. Season 3 just dropped on Disney. But
I think you told me about that. Yeah, you told me about that once.
But like Disney Plus is like a forever go to. Apart from that, it depends what night I'm on, as it switches between Prime Video and HBO Max. Mm-hmm. Something just happened outside my door, and you know what? I'm on stream, so that's Jay's responsibility. So I'm just, until I get yelled on, I am going to sit here. But yeah, so like probably HBO Max and Prime are probably the next two.
Mm-hmm.
Legitimately, there wasn't that much on Netflix I was watching. Netflix was the point of there was a few shows that would come out every so often.
I feel like for me, there's a few like original pieces that I love on Netflix. Like their Love, Death, and Robots, I think is so cool. It's like a cool like
I've heard of it. I've never
anthology
watched
series.
I've never watched the Love, Death, and Robots stuff.
Really
I've heard
cool.
about it though, but
I thought Black Mirror, at least the first couple seasons, was awesome. Stranger Things was awesome, but I think overall, for the most part, I think their content is okay.
For the price that they're charging, the content is not on that level.
I think what I find myself searching Netflix for is like the deep cut movies that, oh crap, I forgot about that movie, and they have it. Yes, let's watch it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's like Mallet Sandman, the same as well. Sandman just dropped on Netflix, and I'm like, I really want to see it, and like, but like, see to watch stuff like that, I'm not gonna lie, like I could literally go on YouTube and watch reactors reacting to stuff like Stranger Things and Umbrella Academy and Sandman and the stuff I want to see. There's like a ton of YouTube reactors that react to stuff, and I can get the gist of the show.
Yeah.
That like Netflix is just like not worth that.
Yeah. I think
Callum fell down the stairs, so I just need to do a quick assessment.
Oh, okay. Hold on a sec. Can you ramble and chat with him a second?
Yeah,
Back
absolutely.
in a sec, man.
Yeah. So I think for me, like I said, so for Netflix, it's one of those, you know, it's a deep cut movie. I forgot that they had this, or you know, there's a couple original series that I really liked from them. But I think for me, for the most part, I watch a lot of Hulu and a lot of Disney Plus. I think the least one that I watch is probably Amazon Prime. But I have HBO Max as well. What's up, Locke? How you doing, man? Cross is attending to the little one in the background. I think the little man fell down the stairs, so we're gonna make sure that he's good. And I'm just rambling, trying to fill the dead air in the meantime. We're talking about streaming services, Locke, and which one's your favorite, which ones you watch the most, because we're gonna be talking about some shows. I mean, other than The Boys and maybe a movie here or there, I really don't watch Prime all that much. My wife and I are huge MasterChef fans, so I love watching Hulu. What's up, Space Hawk? Thank you for the sub, my friend. You're a beast. 19 months, absolute beast. Yeah, I think Callan's okay. He was just a little upset. Netflix I watch mostly for the random shows every now and again, but also for their animated stuff.
Hey, sorry about that, bro.
All good, man. We're just talking about Netflix. A favorite, probably Netflix. Most watched, definitely Hulu. Yeah.
I definitely watch Hulu a lot. Like Hulu
Yeah,
became a go-to for Hannah and I. Like Hannah and I like do enjoy like kind of trash TV stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like Hulu is.
And I'm like,
I miss regular TV, but I get some of the shows that I would have.
Yeah, that's like the kind of trash TV stuff. Like we like to sit and like complain about stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But even then though, like I found stuff on Prime that'll do. You know that we kind of watch. And it's like
we're huge MasterChef fans, so we watch MasterChef.
Oh yeah, MasterChef's a big
one. We
one.
the crap out of that show. So.
Oh yeah. Hulu's got a lot of good stuff. Hulu doesn't get credit for the good stuff it's got on there. It's a fairly decent like streaming service.
Yeah, and they've recently changed their UI. It looks slightly Netflix-ish.
I might as well. Like the thing is as well, like Netflix is losing subscribers to their stuff, they're not doing enough to keep people. When you're competing with some of these other like stuff that's out there, it's insane.
Spacehawk says, or we got a lot in chat. Yes. Yeah, let me see. I only watch Prime for Vikings. Vikings is a sweet show.
I have not watched Vikings. That is on my list that I need to sit down and actually check out, along with like the 50 billion other shows I've not watched. Like I always do that though. I'm going to sit and watch these shows and get into them, and I end up sitting watching YouTube. Like I'm one of those people, you know.
So Wheel of Time, that's interesting because I have the Robert Jordan Wheel of Time book, and I've been meaning to read it for a really long time.
I've heard people talking about it, but I've never.
That big. I'm like, oh man, I can't. It's just starting it, right?
Maybe we need to start some of these shows. Maybe we need to start binging through some of this stuff and talking about them on the podcast to kind of like get us into some of this stuff because there's a ton of great shows out there like that, which are like completely new reactions for us, you know. Or hell, maybe that's what we can do for like more of our content on Ko-fi for people that subscribe over there. Is like we'll start reacting to some of these shows because you know there's a bunch of them I've not seen.
There's a couple Brooklyn Nine-Nine comments in the chat. I've actually never seen.
I'm not getting into that conversation again. I played freaking Sea of Thieves with like Spacehawk and Locke, and I got lost. The two went off on a Brooklyn Nine-Nine rant, but I was not capable of being a part of.
Locke, I meant the first one. I know there's like 400 books. I'm just talking about the first one. I forgot what it's called. Hold on.
Oh dear. Here we go again. What is going on with your sofa, dude? Like, there you go. You get a nice.
This one.
Dude.
Eye of the World.
Dude, save those ass shots for premium content. People need to pay for stuff like that, man. Come on.
Hey, you can screenshot it if you really want.
Like, come on, man. We're trying to run a business here. People need to pay for stuff like that.
Put that on our Ko-fi. What?
I'm gonna say that's like photo shoot with Nitro on the Ko-fi page. There you go.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Fix that. Watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm going to have to because you're not going to stop pestering me. I'm still trying to get through Bob's Burgers for the last pestering you gave me. Which, by the way, season 1 of Bob's Burgers is like so hard to slog through. I'm told kind of like Clone Wars, it's better once you get past that, and I'm like,
that's another show I haven't seen.
It's like, why do all these shows? Ooh, something made noise. I think everything's still plugged in. Okay.
Why did I go to Nitro's OnlyFans page by mistake? That wasn't a mistake, Mallet. That wasn't a mistake.
It's never a mistake. It's never a mistake to come here. Everyone who's here is meant to be. Alright, let's get into some actual stuff because we are rambling like something awful. This is such a chill out stream.
About butt shots and OnlyFans. Here we go. Let's do it.
We're talking about that's the normal stuff for us. But first of all, let me do a couple of little announcements before we delve into the shows for today. First of all, very excited to announce, and I've been working my ass off and so I'm proud. So putting in our YouTube links, and that's right, I said links. We have multiple YouTube channels now. Because I decided let's finally do it. Let's finally play the YouTube algorithm game because having multiple different types of content messes up the YouTube algorithm, messes up you getting noticed and different stuff like that. So a lot of people use multiple channels. So I decided it's finally.
Heaven forbid it be easy, right?
I know. It's like it's a one brand, so heaven forbid you put in everything you do on one channel. But so I decided to make multiple channels. The channels are all technically live. The gaming channel and the Let the Good Times Roll or D&D channel do not have any content at the moment. The Art of the Heroes channel for YouTube is live and has all the content on it. It's dropping a few episodes each day just to kind of renew it into YouTube's algorithm, and then up to the most recent stuff is there, so that will be dropping across the next few days. It's not if the stuff's not already up there. I'm in the process of taking down the gaming content from our main channel to put up on the Comics and the Cross Gaming, and get the stuff up there for that. That's going to take a lot longer to do, obviously. All our podcasts and the videos that we do for this will go up as usual on our main channel. And then of course we've got the Let the Good Times Roll channel for when we start our D&D streams in September 1st. That will be going up as its own unique thing, as well as that will also be getting an audio version as well. I don't want to get you guys in trouble. If you don't actually say the words OnlyFans, you can get in trouble for even saying it supposedly.
No,
it's alright.
yeah,
I follow streamers who literally have exclamation mark OnlyFans as their freaking on their things and stuff like that. There's like jokes, like you put it up and it tells you to stop being horny, but it's like we're not exactly worried about it. It's like if it becomes an issue, we'll let you guys know.
I was gonna say I didn't ever think that we would ever say that word on one of our streams, or that it would ever come out in one of our streams. But you know,
I was surprised it took this long, to be completely honest. But yeah, so please go and follow all those YouTube channels. You will get the continued content you get from us loaded up onto YouTube, just across different places. Speaking of Let the Good Times Roll, that of course is our D&D stream, which we have an official start date for on September 1st. It's just a general info statement. Leave it to me, leave it to Mallet to be the one that gets his band. But let me throw this up here. Let the Good Times Roll. We are going to be doing an old school module that our DM, Mr. Tom Levine, wanted to do, the Keep on the Borderlands. This is apparently an old school one. It is a favourite amongst people. A lot of people played it back in the 80s when it came out apparently, so it should be a good one for us to kind of kick off on. He has modernised it for the 5e model, because obviously it was a different edition when it initially came out.
He's saying some pretty disturbing stuff to us in the private chat.
He's ready to kill us.
He's ready to murder us.
He is like full down ready to get out of a whole like complete party death. So if you know the stuff for like the Keep in the Borderlands, please don't give any spoilers. We don't know this. We're brand new to this. But there you can also see not only our DM, but you can also see our party. We are starting off with 4 of us. It will be Nitro, which I'm going to point it out right now. I asked for another photo, and he said,
"I'm proud. I am proud."
And he said, "No, just use that one." So like the fact that is the image getting used to advertise him on the D&D stream is completely on him. I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but that is a full-grown man, Fu Manchu, in that picture. So.
Oh yes, yes. Your brightness is doing some weird stuff.
I know, man. It keeps resetting, and it's starting to piss me off.
Of course, as well, you're going to have myself. I am, of course, part of the party. Jay, who you'll know from our Monday night streams, is there, and Mrs. Nitro, or Token Asian, as she's now going by, who you may have seen during our 12-hour stream, or if you're checking out the My Cup of Tea content that the ladies are putting on. She is helping out over there. She is going to be part of it as well. We are starting off with just the 4 of us. I know we have had a lot of interest. Here, let me come back to our podcast scene for that. There we go. I know we have had a lot of interest for this. People are like desperate to play. I did not think we were going to get this many people wanting to play Dungeons and Dragons with us. I will be honest. We weren't prepared. We are just
we're not ready.
We are just little D&D noobs that have no idea what we're doing with this, that are trying to have a fun time, and everybody wanted to get involved. So
we are going to play another session.
We are starting with the 4 of us. There is a potential for more people to join this campaign once we get more simple with it. That is not a guarantee. But where this one ends, we do not know what's going to happen next. We may do other campaigns using the same characters and add people to it. We may just decide to take a little break from these characters and jump into new characters and start afresh and get a whole new bunch of people in to play with us. We don't know, but we have got a note. Nitro has a note of all your names. He's heading up our D&D stuff, so if you want to get involved in it, talk to him. But he has a list of all the names of everybody that wants to play with us, that wants to get involved, so 100%. So if you do want to get involved, please just know we are aware. If you've told us, we are aware. We've got your names. If not, give it to Nitro.
Yep.
There's no way we're going to get everybody involved. Even in the next campaign, if we start fresh with like 6 or even 8 people playing, including just the 2 of us with people, there's no way we're getting everybody involved. So this is going to take some time to get everybody into the campaigns. But we want to give the opportunity for everyone to get involved. There you go. Mallet wants to get on that list as well.
Alright, I got you back. Got you back, Mallet.
So Mallet, just hit up Nitro. He'll put your name down. If there's any specifics, hit him up on Discord.
I had a just a heads up to everybody. I do have a pinned comment in our D&D -stream in our Discord with everybody's name tagged who offer to be either a DM or actually just play. So I'll add you there now. But again, anybody who is interested in playing for a future campaign after this one, please reach out to me.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's part of the reason for doing it. We want to do this because it's a lot of fun, but we also want to do it because we want to do something else to hang out with the community. And apparently there's an ask for it for D&D. And of course as well, I love the fact that we're starting this on September 1st. I just have to say this because I mentioned it to you this week. We decided Thursday nights, that'll be a great night for us. The idiots that we are didn't realise that, you know, there's a D&D campaign group out there, you know, you may have heard of them.
Just a really small one.
You know,
really
Critical Role, you know, they're only like, you know, the biggest D&D group. This stream with like famous voice actors that are like well known throughout the D&D community, who literally have made homebrew content that has been transferred into the game at points. You know, just a small group that they stream on Thursday nights. They do their show on Thursday night. So much so that the opening song for Campaign 3 is literally called "It's Thursday Night."
We totally did it on purpose. We're trying to compete with them.
And I literally just said it to you, like, I don't think we thought this through. If we're trying to get the D&D community, this might not have been the best move for us, but you know what? We're in this now. We're going for it. You know, the little yappy chihuahua trying to take out the Doberman here. You know.
Let's do it, man.
But you know what? It's going to be a lot of fun.
Take him down.
It's their typical luck. It really is. That's what that is.
Dude, I gotta finalize the layout of the stream. I'll probably work on that this week.
Yeah. Also, as well, my light's doing weird stuff behind me. Also, as well, it's like, are we doing like maps up on stream or anything like that? And like,
I don't know. I gotta ask Tom because I'm sure with a module this old, there's got to be some sort of map that we.
Oh yeah, use. And it's like like the stuff that I sent you as well for like I think it's like Roll20 and stuff. You can pull up like maps and stuff and different things and put it on screen. And I think if we could do that, I'd want to do something like that just because it makes it a bit more interactive for people. So he's probably thought about this stuff. Like I've kept myself at the loop in this stuff on purpose. So isn't the Critical Role gang the ones that are behind the Vox Machina animated series too? Yeah, that's them. I mean, they only have like their actual animated series on Prime, based on their first campaign characters. You know, it's a small group. You know, not nothing major.
Doesn't seem like they really know what they're doing. So.
Alright. I'm trying to get so talking about shows. Just before we do that, make sure to go and check out our sponsored, or it's just crit, not crits. Come on, Cross, you know what you're doing. And go and check out Only Crits for all your D&D needs for dice, dice rolling stuff, any sort of accessories for your D&D dice. They are, of course, and we're ambassadors for them, as well as BCW, where you get all your collectibles for any comics, books, getting bags, boards, long boxes, anything like that. That is the place to go. So please go and check them out. That's okay. We know who wins between David and Goliath. Absolutely, that's it, Mallet. That's exactly it. That's the mentality we need. Goliath's absolutely not just going to stand on our heads. Alright, so let's get into talking about some of the big summer shows that we missed, because like we've not talked about some of these, we have checked them out, so I feel like let's get into a little bit of what we thought of them.
Alright, which one do you want to hit first? We got alright, let me just list them off. So we got Obi-Wan, got Miss Marvel, The Boys season 4, Stranger Things season 4. Oh, I'm sorry,
Boys season 3, Stranger
Things season 4, and then I Am Groot.
Yeah.
Super transparent. I totally forgot I Am Groot came out.
Well, I Am Groot, I was just going to throw in here because it's not really a series. It's 5 shorts. Like they're literally like, it says 5 minutes, but if you take out the like 1 million credits on it, it's like 3.5 minute episodes. They're okay.
Yeah, I wasn't honestly like even minutely looking forward to that
so
show.
I did see the Infinity Bros like posting something about it, saying it's like all the amazing CG they put into I Am Groot, and then we get what we get, and freaking and like in the She-Hulk show, the crap CGI for that.
Dude, speaking of, I know this is off topic, but have you seen the shorts that they're releasing, like the clips from She-Hulk that they're releasing?
I seen the one with Tim Roth's voice for the Abomination. Like for some reason his voices are just normal.
He sounds like Korg. Somebody said he sounds like Korg, and I'm like, I can't unhear that. He does. He
No,
sounds just...
but the thing is, it's literally just Tim Roth's voice. That's his voice. That's his normal voice. There's nothing been done to it. That's just how Tim Roth sounds.
I feel like I'm just gonna be just continually butthurt through the She-Hulk series. So I need to just lower my expectations, like, so they're like through the floor. I have a feeling the show's gonna be decent, but there's just a couple things that I've seen where I'm like, oh. I'm sorry. I know I'm off topic.
I'm saving this. We're not going into another She-Hulk rant. The show hasn't even dropped, and we've done too many rants about that show.
Yeah, that's true.
Alright. And Malik, yeah, the fast forwards are kind of funny. At the start of the I Am Groot shorts, like the Marvel logo starts up, and you see a remote coming up and like, fast forwarding. And then it gets to the Marvel Studios logo, and it's Groot's face comes up, and then like walks forward and knocks the camera down. It's cute. It's funny.
Yeah.
Something I didn't expect from the I Am Groot shorts, that Groot is fairly like homicidal and genocidal. Like his thought to stuff is like murder it, whether on purpose or by accident. Like I thought he like committed genocide in this group of tiny little creatures that he finds, like in the first one I watched. Thankfully they seem to have survived. Second one is a mutating thing that changes its shape. He has a dance off with it and then like lures it into the freaking the docking thing on the outside of the ship, and it opens the door and launches it into space.
Dang.
And I'm like, you're a murderous little so-and-so. I mean, that's it, man. Like, they were cute little things. They were daft little things. There was nothing to them. And I'm like...
Yeah.
I guess I'm just kind of like turned off with that stuff a little bit now, because I'm seeing that and I'm like... and I'm like, I'm waiting for Marvel stuff to wow me again. And I'm like, it felt like Phase 4 reoccurring. I know it was meant. I know it's shorts. I know it's for kids mostly. I know it's to capitalise because it's the baby Groot stuff. It's not even teenage Groot, you know.
Yeah.
I get it.
We're past baby Groot like by like years, right?
Yeah, like what was it? Teen Groot came out at the end of like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. At the end of that, the end credit of that, we had Teen Groot. So, but it's them trying to capitalise on that stuff again. I get it, but it's like. Yeah, when sentient trees get angry, they get angry. Yeah, and Groot gets angry, by the way. That little thing, like, is very suicidal. Even when it's another tree, like, he tries to go for it. Yeah, and that's it, man. It feels completely like a money grab thing, because, like, we're well past that. We're on Teen Groot, so, like, of course, you know. But... honestly, it was a great intro for my girls to the MCU. Yeah, that's it. That's the thing, Space Hulk. Is like I feel like it's very much a younger demographic, kind of grabbing them in with the baby Groot stuff. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what it feels like to me. But like for me, who's like a curmudgeoned old man watching the MCU and spent a whole episode complaining about Phase 4.
Oh yeah.
I think if I was in a better mood with Phase 4, I wouldn't have minded it as much. It would have felt like just a stupid little off turn. But like I'm really getting worn down with the Marvel stuff at the minute. I'm waiting for the stuff to like start really oomping and hitting again.
Yeah.
But that might just be.
I really have a feeling it'll pick up Black Panther, but you know, whatever.
Yeah. And that's it. I don't want to come across like I can imagine like, oh, there's stupid stuff. You shouldn't do stuff. Like Marvel's trying to do everything for everybody at the moment, so it makes sense.
Yeah. To
be doing stuff like that. I don't begrudge them doing it. It definitely wasn't for me. Like it was cute and it was daft for a couple of little shorts, and like I think that's the thing. It's like for it being shorts, it works.
Yeah.
You know, for what it is. But anyway, there wasn't much to that, so I wanted to mention it since I just kind of like watched them recently, and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to mention these because there's not going to be a full episode dedicated to them, no chance.
Yeah.
But what do you want to start? Because we've got 4 kind of major shows here to.
All right, let's just go down the line. Let's start with Obi-Wan.
Oh, you mean the one I forgot about? Literally.
Well, it'll be quick then. It'll be quick.
Literally forgot Obi-Wan existed. I was trying to think of shows that we were going to talk about that we hadn't covered in the show. I was posting it on social media, and literally until today, I forgot Obi-Wan had been a thing.
Hilarious. It came out, like, it was one of the first ones that came out, though, right?
Yeah, it dropped in May. It was like end of May, the first episode dropped.
Yeah. Obi-Wan was such a letdown.
Yeah.
Do expand, Seal. We would love to hear everybody's thoughts on it.
There you go.
So we got Obi-Wan was such a letdown. Obi-Wan was great. So, you know. So what did you think? What were your thoughts? high level. You don't have to get into super detail or anything.
Yeah, well, that's it. We're not going to go. This is not going to be super in-depth reviews on these because we've got 4 shows to talk about, and it's definitely not the best of the shows. Regardless of what you thought about it, there's no way it counts as the best. It's like
no.
It's 3rd or 4th on the list of these 4 shows easily. Spacehawk saying he loved it as well. The only way to start off Obi-Wan is hello there.
Ooh, I love the division in chat.
Yeah,
I love it.
The Third Sisters writing and story arc was trash. Seal's kind of hitting it in the nail for me. See the stuff we got with Obi-Wan. I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I'm okay about finding out about his story of after episode 3, seeing where he is. I get totally where he is. He's completely pulled away from being a Jedi. Like at this point, he's buried his lightsaber. He's hidden away. He's checking in on Luke, but at the same time, like he really doesn't want to be involved. He gets dragged back in because there's a threat against young Leia. And so he goes for her, which young Leia, I thought she was good. I thought she did a great job. I enjoyed the story. You know, it was
she's alright.
You know, for what it was, like I didn't think it was like I could have enjoyed that for the show if it'd been Obi-Wan and her. I'm like, okay, this works. Even the Inquisitors chasing them works because it's them hunting down Jedi. That's what happened in this era.
Mm-hmm.
My major problem with this show, and the thing that kind of put me off a lot of it, is that it wasn't an Obi-Wan show. He was a side character. He was like the 3rd or 4th most important character in his own show.
Yeah.
This was a Third Sister show.
Yeah.
This was all about her. And I'm not saying anything against the actress. There was a lot of hate she got because how dare a black actress, you know, do something in Star Wars. I'm not agreeing with that whole tirade that people went on. I'm like, she's a fine actress. Absolutely. It was her show though, and she was not an enjoyable character.
I would agree.
I can't remember who I asked. It might have been you, or it might have been my wife I said it to, and I'm like, is it possible to have a Mary Sue who's a villain? Because you know, like the Mary Sue's like the female heroine who's like untouchable and can do all these amazing things, and I'm like, there was literally moments in that show I saw her do stuff. Like the one that springs to mind is when Obi-Wan's hiding with the Resistance. It's the little street with the towns. Darth Vader appears. We see the freak out in his face because it's Vader. It's the first time of him seeing Vader and realising all the rumours he heard were true. Vader is still alive.
Yeah.
The Inquisitors are walking down the street, checking the buildings. Obi-Wan's not even in the building anymore. He's gone through the hole in the back of it and has ran through there and is going through there. And all of a sudden she goes, that house there.
Mm-hmm.
How?
How did she know?
How? He's not even in that house anymore. He's escaped through it, and I'm like, how did you know? But all these other Force-sensitive people, including Darth Vader, who is so much more powerful in the Force than you, didn't pick up that he was there.
Mm-hmm.
This became a weird thing of her hunting Obi-Wan, which was like, I don't care. I'm not watching that for him. I'm watching it for the amazing moments that we got with Obi-Wan and Vader. The fights with Obi-Wan and Vader. Even the flashbacks to like young Anakin when he was still a Padawan, which they could have done a bit of de-aging on. Hayden Christensen, like you shouldn't have that many wrinkles if you're still the Padawan. I'm just saying.
I was thinking the same thing.
Don't get me wrong. He looks amazing for his age.
He does.
But no, you're definitely not the age you were. I'm just saying. But no, like that stuff was amazing. Like the shot of them fighting and the helmet split and him talking to him like, you didn't kill Anakin, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, that stuff was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it took a back seat to frickin' Third Sister, who survived getting killed by Vader.
Twice.
She shows up at the end and goes after Luke for no reason.
Like, she got stabbed twice.
She was stabbed twice. Yeah, because that's what Vader does.
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader leaves people alive when he walks away. Absolutely, that's what he does.
Like, can we bring back Liam Neeson's character, please, Qui-Gon? He got stabbed by Darth Maul, right?
Yeah. Well, speaking of, that was a cool cameo at the end, getting Qui-Gon Jinn back at the end. I was hoping for a bit more. I was hoping for him like to appear a few times. as Obi-Wan kind of started to get the hang of the talk of it, because we got that hinted at the end of episode 3, so I was kind of hoping for a bit of that. But like overall, like the stuff with Obi-Wan and Vader, I thought was phenomenal. I thought it was really good. I thought it was great storytelling. The problem I had was that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Was a back seat to what we. Chat is like freaking popping off here.
I know.
Yeah, we know. I'm gonna try and hit some of these, sorry, because like, people are chatting like crazy.
Go for it.
We know that Obi-Wan has to live as well as Leia. There was so much more they could have done with that story than fleshing out Vader's story. Yeah, they could have done a lot more with it, because there wasn't really a threat of like, oh, Obi-Wan or Leia could die. I'm like, well, they clearly don't. You know, that's one of the things with a prequel. You have to be smart with it. Mallet's saying, and we got more of Vader being a terrifying villain, like at the end of Rogue One. Yeah, the stuff with Vader I enjoyed. I thought it was done well. I was worried with Hayden Christensen coming back, because for some reason there's this amazing love for his like portrayal in the prequels that's coming through now, and I'm like, I don't have an issue with the guy, but his portrayal of Anakin in the prequels is still not good acting. I don't know why all of a sudden we're pretending like he was amazing.
Like, time does make the heart grow fonder, but it's still awful. And
Which tells me as well it was no. That's the thing. I think it was the creative team back then, because like he did amazing in Obi-Wan, so I don't think it's him that's the problem. Really, that could have been a 3-hour movie, and it probably would have been okay, but there wasn't enough to justify a series. Yeah, I feel like that's it. I felt like there was a lot of padding to make this a series. Fifth Brother seemed like a spot filler. Most of the Inquisitors felt like spot fillers. Like, you had the Inquisitors there who were like the Jedi hunters. Like, why are they background characters? Them hunting Obi-Wan is a show. You know what I mean? See, the fight between Ben and Annie was just not necessary. Sure, it looked great, but again, they stopped giving those two backstories. Yeah, there wasn't much given to the two of them, you know. Yeah, a little bit of Third Sister would have been okay, but I feel like they shoved her down our throats. It was her story, it was her backstory, because the whole thing basically kicks off of like her as like a youngling escaping.
Yeah.
And then she ends up working for Vader, and it was this whole thing of like, oh, she blames Obi-Wan because where were you? And it's like, being murdered? Being hunted by the troopers like you were?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no, she's not actually mad at him. The whole thing's been to like turn it on Vader. I'm like, okay, cue Mel Brooks' song and dance number from History of the World. Yeah. If they called it the Inquisition, it would have been a 20% better series. Yeah. Like, that was my thing with it. Was like, it was her show, and I don't care about her.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
I would agree.
I know I've rambled, but what were your thoughts?
No, hey man, it's all good. I would agree with basically everything you just said. I think the show excelled when it was just Obi-Wan and Vader. I got very strong. Somebody mentioned it earlier, but I got very strong Rogue One Vader at the end of Rogue One vibes from their fighting. Which that Rogue One, hands down, my favorite Star Wars film. No question about it.
It's talked a bit more than some of the others, but it's still very underrated for how good Rogue One is.
And I get why it's not a lot of people's favorite. I get that, but I think the story is awesome. It basically, in my opinion, it enhances and it gives validity to the other stories, like, you know, A New Hope, all three of the first ones, the prequels, all that stuff. It gives validity to Vader as just an absolute monster.
It did what an in-between does. It helped flesh out what was already there. Yeah. In a way that like embiggened it, like whereas like Han Solo, the Han Solo movie like fell apart. I didn't feel like it fleshed out anything that was necessary. Mm-hmm. It felt like an add-on for the sake of being an add-on.
Yeah. And
they didn't even know what they were doing with it. Even like the Darth Maul freaking like appearance at the end of that was like, oh, put whoever you want there, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like whereas like Rogue One felt like it was literally set just at like A New Hope. Like this was happening as it happened.
I mean, I feel like if you're looking at the other Disney Plus Star Wars shows like The Mandalorian and Boba Fett, I feel like Obi-Wan is kind of like Boba Fett in that
it's more
in certain parts it really excels. Mm-hmm. Like it really excels with again, when it's just Obi-Wan and Vader, when they're together, or even at the beginning of the season when Obi-Wan is just like a slice of life of Obi-Wan. Like he's kind of forsaken, not really necessarily forsaken his Jedi past, but kind of in a way he has.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's just trying to do life. He's like suffering from depression. He's just like he's trying to exist.
Absolutely.
And he gets pulled back into that. But the whole third sister thing, that was I think to your point, that show was put on her shoulders, and I don't think. I just wasn't a huge fan of her character, I guess. I just wasn't a huge fan of her character, and I don't really think it added a whole lot to the show.
The character felt very forced.
Yeah.
Like you were forcing me to like go on her journey. Which, if that was what the show was meant to be, fair enough, but don't try and do that on a show where you've sold me that this is a story about Obi-Wan. You know?
Yeah.
Space
it's like the Boba Fett show, like when they made that whole episode about Mandalorian. That was everybody loved that way more than the actual Boba Fett show.
Well, that's the thing I've got to say. That at least they got right with Obi-Wan. When Obi-Wan was on screen for his show, I was enjoying his bits.
Yeah,
that's the difference. Like with Boba Fett, it was like I really don't care about Boba Fett, and like Mando showed up, I was like, hey,
yeah. Exactly.
Space Hawk, absolutely. That Han Solo movie doesn't exist in my head. I will be completely honest. I didn't even finish it.
I finished it.
I
just
got
don't remember it.
I got like halfway through, and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? This is not even close to worth it. Solo would have been met okay if they had made it about some random character and not Han. It's just a space adventure on its own. But being what that's it though. It was meant to be about Han Solo, and it wasn't a good Han Solo story. Especially if you know the Han Solo origin from the expanded universe books. If you want to get a good Han Solo story, go read them. They're amazing. Mando and Boba connect you back to the Star Wars universe you grew up with. Also, Third Sister doesn't appear anywhere else in the Star Wars universe. Well, that's it. She was made for this, and it's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Even what you did with her, you didn't make me want to care about her. You know.
So, if you were to rank the Disney Plus shows, what would be your ranking? The Disney Plus Star Wars shows, the 3.
The Star Wars shows.
Not counting Clone Wars or Rebels or anything. I'm just talking about the live action.
Just the 3. So like Mando, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
This is middle.
Yeah.
Mando's 100% the best.
Like, by far.
Mandalorian has been such a phenomenal show, and it's not skipped a beat. That saved Book of Boba Fett and made the rest of it worth watching was the fact that he was there. And I will say this, like watching Boba Fett and Mando fight back to back, like in the finale, that was like phenomenal.
That was sweet. I did like the part where Boba Fett rode that big, I forgot what it was.
Oh, the Rancor, yeah, at the end.
That was sweet. That was so sweet.
Boba Fett had some cool moments, but overall it was it wasn't what I was expecting. And then of course it ends with the fact of like, I don't think I want to be a crime lord anymore. So this whole thing was pointless.
Yeah. You
did all of this to like get this control, and then you're like, see, I didn't like having Mando and Boba Fett. I didn't like that we had to have Mando and Boba Fett to save it.
I personally did like it because, in my opinion, it saved that show.
Yeah,
if Mando was not in that show, that would have been I just don't think it would have been great.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't a great show in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. It was Mandalorian season 2.5. I feel like it was just gimmicky to try and get creds to the show.
That's the thing, Mal. That's what it was doing, because I feel like that show fell way short of the Mandalorian.
I feel like Jon Favreau didn't want to make the Book of Boba Fett, that Disney forced him to make a spin-off. So he basically just did whatever they told him to do, and then squeezed Mando in to try and save it, because it essentially is a Mandalorian show. Mm-hmm. Because like you can't go into Mandalorian season 3 without watching Book of Boba Fett, because at the end of season 2, like, Luke disappears with Grogu, and then all of a sudden you're going to come into season 3 and like, wait, he's got a different ship now that he's done up, he's got Grogu back, he's travelling with him, and I'm like, you need to watch Book of Boba Fett to find out what happened there.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Which is an interesting thing for it, but yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely middle of the road for it. I think Mandalorian has been this runaway success, and it's definitely been a passion project for Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
Overall, the rest of the Star Wars stuff that's coming out, I'm like,
I kind of feel like they're in a similar boat to Marvel right now. Like I feel like
I'm not excited.
They're releasing a ton of not a ton of content compared to Marvel, but way more than they've used to, and it's, for the most part, it's good or okay. You know, like look at the last 3 movies that were released. Like they were like incredibly divisive. Divisive. They
just went downhill until you got to freaking episode 9, which if you enjoyed it, fair enough, but like it was a train wreck of a movie. Overall, like even the plot and the story of it, like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
and then Palpatine's back just because. And if you want to find out how Palpatine survived, you have to read like the add-on books, the book version of it, because it goes into more detail. And I'm like, you brought back the freaking Emperor after he was definitely 100% dead, and I'm not even going to explain it to me? Like, no. I'm like, alright, before we get into a whole Star Wars rant. But, yeah, you do the same ranking for the shows, though?
Yeah, I would put Mandalorian way in the first.
Like, I'm hyped for the next Mandalorian series.
I'll be straight up. If it wasn't for Mandalorian, I would not have enjoyed Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett. I love that guy. I forgot his name. The dude who plays Boba
Timura
Fett.
Morrison? Is that it?
He's great. He's great as the character, and had some cool moments in it. But for the most part, it was like, meh, I don't really. I honestly don't really care.
I felt like it was boring.
Yeah.
I felt like the story itself had a great potential. Like Boba Fett taking over Jabba's territory and becoming the head like crime boss there. That story had potential and a half, and I feel like it just felt like they didn't know where they were going with it. Like even the backstory stuff of him with the Tusken Raiders and stuff like that, I thought was kind of cool, but
yeah,
overall it felt boring because I don't feel like they didn't have an end goal of where they were actually going with it.
Yeah, I think the overall feeling that I got was I just don't care.
Yeah,
I just don't care what happened to him or what he's doing right now.
All right, so jumping into our next shows, what else will we do?
We have Miss Marvel, Stranger Things, and The Boys.
Let's do Miss Marvel next.
Alright, let's do it.
But we'll end in the two better shows. The four.
I don't know if I have a whole lot of thoughts on this show. It wasn't bad, okay? I want to say that up front. It was not a bad show. It was okay. I thought the lead actress was fantastic.
She's an amazing actress for her age. She just turned 20.
Iman Vellani, I believe.
Yeah, like she was a phenomenal actress. She did a great job, I felt.
She's fantastic. Yeah, I don't know if I have a whole lot of thoughts. I thought the CGI overall was pretty decent. The story was pretty cool. I know they changed a lot of her origin. There were some episodes where I was just like, this is dumb. Or there were some episodes where I totally forgot to watch, and then I had to catch up.
Oh yeah,
the following weeks.
I ended up binging the whole thing at the end. Like I ended up binging to get through it. Like I literally watched the first episode, and I even tweeted out about it and stuff like that, and posted on our Discord about it that I thought it was a decent first episode, but I didn't feel like it was for me. It felt like it was trying too hard to be the young hip sort of thing for me. But again, I was watching it very much like I don't know if I'm the target audience for it. I feel myself doing that a lot with Marvel now. Like I'm watching stuff like I feel like we're branching out so far. I don't know if I'm the target audience for a lot of it. Yeah. As I binged the show, because you told me some spoilers about it, which I wasn't against you telling me. I told you to tell me about it. When we saw Thor: Love and Thunder, we talked a little bit about it, and like the whole thing of like that. It's like, oh, she's not an Inhuman. I'm like, okay, so we're not doing Inhumans. Fair enough. Like, oh, she's a Jinn. She's a genie, and I'm like, which technically she still kind of is. Yeah. And it's like, but Jinn were like they kind of try to tie it into the multiverse thing, which was like, okay, so they're from another universe, and then it's like at the very end it was like, oh no, she's a mutant, and I'm like, okay, so this is how we're introducing mutants somehow from another dimension, which we kind of saw was coming. I didn't think it'd come through Miss Marvel. Yeah. But it makes sense because they're not wanting to push the Inhuman stuff, so they're going to push her as a mutant, which, let's be honest, if Fox didn't own the X-Men in the comics, she would have been a mutant. Yep. Overall, I enjoyed the show. I thought it was good. I thought it's definitely not the worst thing I've watched. Definitely not the worst thing I've watched from Marvel, even. Like, I thought it was a decent show. I thought the actors all did an amazing job with it. Especially the actress from Miss Marvel, she was really good. I really enjoyed her in the role. I think she's going to do phenomenal as she keeps going in the MCU. Again, it felt like it either didn't quite know what it wanted to do, or it didn't have enough time to expand it. Yeah. Like, because I felt like there was two ongoing storylines, but it was very weird. Because we had the storyline of the Jinns, and them trying to get back to their world and trying to get her to use her power to help send them back, because her mom had like the ability, or her grandmother or whatever had the ability, and it had been passed on and stuff like that. And that she was the one that was going to be able to pass it back to them. open the door, get them home, all that sort of stuff. Which it felt like some of that started getting a bit complicated, but like I kind of rolled with it because it's, you know, comic books, stuff gets complicated, it's fine. But we got to the whole thing with the gins, and it felt like all of a sudden it just stopped. Like they opened the portal, and then it was like, and it killed them.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay. So it felt like we were building up to that, but in the background we'd had damage control. Why are they this big government organisation hunting people with powers? Even in the MCU, that's not what they were doing. In the comics, damage control are the cleanup crew.
Yeah.
Who clean up when stuff goes wrong. Like when superheroes destroy stuff, they're the ones that clean it up. And we even established that in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yep.
That they got the contracts because they were created by Tony Stark to clean up after the fights of like Battle in New York and stuff like that the Avengers had. We've established them as that, and then all of a sudden they're acting like freaking Hydra in the AIM. This organisation were hunting people with powers, and like, oh, it might be a racist thing, it might not, because the right people aren't getting the powers, and it's like, oh, is she talking about the fact because they're Middle Eastern? You know, is she talking about the fact of like, you know, like they're Pakistani, and it's like, are we forcing that a little touch? I felt like that was forced a little bit.
I would agree.
But even then, it was like, that was the whole final thing, was like her and like the guy that she liked that was part of the Jinn, and his power started coming through, and they were trying to take him away, and she managed to like calm it down, and and it was kind of like, but I'm like, why is damage control doing any of this?
Yeah.
You're superhero janitors. Why are you hunting down people with powers? Why is that a thing?
Superhero janitors.
They're the cleanup crew. That is literally what they do. Like, why are you hunting people?
That needs to be a shirt. Damage control, superhero janitors.
Essentially, it is. It's like, but no, they're hunting them, and it's like for no reason. I think that's the thing. I felt like they tried to cram too much into what was 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Because you had the damage control stuff, and then you had the Jinns, which was the main story. Because the main story also got freaking like the whole thing of like she went back and she saw what happened to her grandma, and like
which I didn't get that.
How the light had like directed her and stuff like that, and the fact that these powers were within her, and I thought it was kind of cool seeing that. Because it was really interesting getting a little bit of the history, the division between Pakistan and India and what happened with that, which is a really intriguing history, like, and I feel like shows are starting to kind of dive into that as of recently. Like I recently watched, was it season 11 of Doctor Who, I want to say, when they went to like an India Pakistan kind of bit like that in that era. So I feel like there's a lot of stuff then that's starting to come out, and I enjoyed the focus. I enjoyed the focus on pushing boundaries, like even going to the mosque and getting to meet with the people that they worshipped with, and her friend was pushing to try and become like part of the board to change it up and get stuff for her. All the slice of life stuff like that, I actually kind of enjoyed. It was really nice and refreshing. I actually kind of wish the guy that she liked wasn't one of the Jinn, because I kind of liked it. It was just this guy that she liked that was into the same stuff as her, and she was like a teenage girl just trying to flirt with him, and I'm like, it was really sweet. It was really nice. I enjoyed that stuff. And if it had just been the story with the Jinn, and you could have played on the whole slice of life family stuff, because she was like friends with her grandma and the whole stuff like that, or her great grandma, and the whole section with that, and like you could have played on that, but it felt like that was rushed because we had to get through that to get to the damage control stuff. Which, why not like save something like that for season 2, where like, and build that up? So like, are damage control just doing that in the MCU now? Are they going to show up in freaking She-Hulk? You know what I mean? Because they're hunting these kids with powers, and I'm like, well, She-Hulk's now going to have a law firm while being a Hulk. Are you going to show up at her door? You're too dangerous. Why? Because you're a Hulk?
Yeah.
Or is this just going to be one of these forgotten about things that was kind of forced in, you know?
Yeah, it did seem kind of shoehorned into the show a little bit. And even at the end, like, again, we're going to go into spoilers here. I'm assuming everybody's seen it, but even at the end, when
if you've seen any of these shows, we're going into spoilers, by the way. We did give our spoiler thing, but like, there's 4 shows to cover. Like, we're not going to like pull punches on this. We're not doing full reviews of them. It's, you know.
Well, like, even at the end when that guy that she kind of likes goes like basically nuclear, and she's trying to contain it all, and like damage control is there, and they're firing on her and stuff like that. Even then, I was just like, dude, why are they here? Why is that a thing? Because like they just gave up. They were like, oh, okay, she did something good.
The last episode turned into Home Alone when they were setting up traps around the school.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Like, what is it? Why is this a thing for damage control? Like, I don't get it. Like, and they got fed up of cleaning up and decided to get their revenge. Apparently.
Yes, I agree with Mallet, man. I think they need to start upping these 6-episode seasons. This is just, if they're wanting to tell a long form story, 6 episodes is not the way to do it. Or if you are going to stick with 6 episodes, you need to tighten it up.
Tighten up, that's the thing. For 6 episodes, damage control was not needed. The story with the Jinn, the story of where our powers come from, was a perfect setup to kind of say, okay, this is how we're going to do this. Because we're changing our powers from the elasticity, from being able to grow ourselves and stretch ourselves and all that. Whether it's because we wanted to go this direction with it, whether it's because we didn't want it to be like Reed Richards, whether it's because we just wanted to change the Inhuman story, I don't care. If that's the direction you're going, let's stick to how she got the powers then. If we're setting it up like she's got a mutant gene, and this is part of how he came into this world from the multiverse, it's not the first time we've hinted at stuff like this. Like, I mean, we're setting up Spider-Man's black suit because of the end of No Way Home, thanks to Venom leaving a bit of itself behind, you know. We're setting up that the multiverse is starting to have an effect on the main world. We're setting that up, so I don't mind that being a thing. Still not sure I'm a fan of the shoehorned in, like it's a mutation.
Dude, how many times are they gonna play friggin' X-Men?
Twice within a couple of months, that song has played in the MCU.
If
like,
you're gonna play that, you better pay that off.
What was that I seen? What was that I seen? Somebody saying that it's like I think it may be in the Infinity Bros again, like talking about like, what if like X-Men 97 ends up being like a back door to get the mutants into the MCU, and that's what they're setting up. And I'm like, well, the way they keep using the theme song, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. But yeah, so overall thoughts on Miss Marvel then, and where does it rank against the other MCU Disney Plus shows?
I liked it. I mean, I think WandaVision for me is still up at the top, along with Loki. I liked Moon Knight. I feel like they botched the ending, but I liked the show overall other than that. I feel like Miss Marvel is probably somewhere in the middle for me. Definitely better than What If. Definitely better than Falcon and Winter Soldier, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely better. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I like it better than Hawkeye or not, because there's some parts in Hawkeye that I really, really like. All right, so Hawkeye is very, very slightly above it, and Miss Marvel's right underneath that.
Yeah.
So probably in the middle, low middle for me.
I think there's better bits in Hawkeye, but I think like Miss Marvel's a lot more consistent, at least. So I would say middle for Miss Marvel as well. I would say very middle of the road for it.
Yeah.
Which seems to be what we do. Which seems to be a really good like thing to give to them.
I think I said a controversial opinion. We got a gasp in chat, which is not. Like,
Nitro says a controversial opinion on the podcast. Shock horror.
It's pretty on the par for me, par for the course. So.
I was going to say, it's like that's kind of standard at this point for you, surely.
I've given up trying to explain.
Better than Falcon and Winter Soldier and What If. It's like you're one of those guys that hates Firefly or something.
Alright, again, you know what, I'm not even, it doesn't even matter anymore. Doesn't matter. I don't hate it, okay? I don't hate it.
Quote Nitro, Avengers is trash level.
Alright, you want to hit The Boys or Stranger Things?
I love how you just changing the subject now. It's like you're just like, I'm getting away from this, not even touching it anymore. What would you want to go for next? Because I'm good for both.
Let's do Stranger Things. Man.
Really?
Alright,
I want Lucas Till to play Havoc again. I'd be fine with that. He was a good actor in the role.
Lucas Till. Oh yeah, that square jaw dude.
Yeah, I'm still up for him being the new Barry Allen personally. I've seen someone commenting that online ages ago, and I'm like, I'm okay with that. I think it'd be cool.
See that. That dude has a jaw that looks like it was cut out of granite. That's just ridiculous.
That's insane. Like, he is.
That's just crazy. So yeah, so Stranger Things season 4. So
yeah, you take the lead in this one because you were big on this one. You were like so super hyped for this one.
I think I know season 4 had its issues, like some of the side stories and stuff like that. I didn't think were that great. Like I suck at character names, okay, but the pizza guy and Will's brother, their whole side adventure.
The Stoner Bros.
Yeah,
like Jonathan and whatever he is. I literally don't remember the new guy's name.
Yeah.
Okay, gonna mute it for now since I haven't watched this one yet. No worries.
So I think overall, I think this is probably one of my favorite seasons. I think we can all agree that season 3 was probably the worst one.
Argyle, that's a Space Hawk.
I don't know if we can all agree, but I think it's pretty much a consensus that season 3 was not that great.
Yeah, I felt like it was that season 3 was a dip in quality. Personally, I wasn't a fan of it, so I was worried coming into this season, to be honest.
So I feel like season 1's here, season 2's here, season 3's here, and then season 4 is bam up here. If not on par, if not better than season 1, in my opinion. There's a lot of really cool payoffs. You know, you had Eddie as the new character, who I think is an amazing addition to the show. I just really, really, really like this show. It was really cool. I binged the whole thing in like a day and a half, almost. So it was, I mean, I loved it. I love the show.
Yeah, like I agree with you. This was definitely top quality. This was like back on like their highest level. I think this probably the best season we've had so far, personally, for Stranger Things. I thoroughly enjoyed the setup we've gotten from the last few seasons. I felt like it's been really building up well. Season 3 was definitely a low point, as sad as it is to say that it kind of took that dive. Like, it was... I didn't come out of it feeling good about the show. I just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah.
And even though like all the trailers and everything looked great for this, I was concerned. I was worried that it was going to be the same, and it was like, this was them starting to go downhill. I was really worried we were going to start to get like a heroes thing. That it was, like we talked about last week, kind of like it was going to be like season 1's phenomenal, and then it just starts to dip and continues to dip. But season 4 was amazing.
Dude, it was. It was awesome.
Don't get me wrong, like you, there was stuff that was definitely not on par, like Jonathan and Argyle, and the stuff with like what's their faces, Will and Mike, like their side story, like traveling through the desert and all this stuff and all that.
I don't care.
I couldn't have cared less.
Yeah.
Like the stuff with like Hopper in Russia and then trying to get him out of Russia, the stuff with Eleven and delving into her backstory was phenomenal. And then of course like the best bit was like, you know, like Steve and Nancy and like all the kind of
the
team,
little road trip.
like their whole thing, like, which, can I just say, by the way, like I find this phenomenal. Like I literally found myself at one point, like, if Steve dies in this moment, and I think you know the moment I mean, like when he gets dragged into the Upside Down.
Oh yeah.
I was like, if you kill him here, I am done. Like,
yeah.
And I'm like,
I think everybody said that.
But think where his character was. He was hated in season 1. He was the crappy boyfriend, and I'm like, literally from season 2, you managed to turn this guy around, and he's probably my, if not one of my favourite characters in the show.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing I was gutted was I think his relationship with Dustin was like kind of off, because Dustin started hanging out a lot more with Eddie.
Which I love that.
Which was a really cool relationship. I loved that, but like I love the dynamic of Steve and Dustin. But I like the fact that like Eddie kind of became like a friend to him, whereas like Steve's a bit more like a big brother.
Yeah.
And I love that dynamic with them. And it's like, but like when I thought they were going to kill him. I was like, if you kill him, I am seriously like, you're so in trouble.
I think for me, I think the last 2 episodes of season 4 were 2 of the best episodes in the entire series, in my opinion. You know, when Hopper finally gets out of Russia and he freaking goes toe to toe with the Demogorgon with freaking Conan's sword,
broadsword in hand, taking on a Demogorgon, like
Master of Puppets solo in the Upside Down on top of an RV. Come on!
I cannot express how amazing that scene was. See when that riff started for Master of Puppets, it's like, oh, it's so good.
That whole thing was awesome. Even what's her name? Nancy going toe to toe with the sawed-off shotgun with Vecna, sweet too. You know, oh man, I thought there was multiple moments in the last 2 episodes where I verbally out loud was like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. You know, like, the old school Marvel movies that we would go to see in the theaters. You know, that would get you mad hype.
It was so good, and like, and also R.I.P. Eddie, man. That sacrifice for it, like. I'm gutted he died so soon. He could have been a really cool character, but what a way to go. That character, like, he owned season 4, man. Like, he was phenomenal.
So, Space Hawk says, the only way I can see the series ending is with Vecna turning Will into a monster and Elle fighting him.
Absolutely. That ending with Will.
Yeah.
That kind of blew my mind, because I always figured they always kind of hinted there was still something off with Will. But that ending with Will makes you realise they've actually kind of been playing a long game. Like, ever since he got back from the Upside Down at the end of season 1, Will has not been quite himself, and right at the end of season 4 we see there's still a connection there. And Vecna, which we're going to get into Vecna was a phenomenal villain. like still has that connection to him, and that season 5 Will has to die.
Yeah.
I'm calling it now. He has to die. And yeah, Space Hulk, I think they're going to play that card, like, because they kind of hinted at it before, and then they kind of hinted it in a conversation with Will and Mike. I think it was in season 2 or 3, that there might be a bit more there than just the friendship, and then they really hammered it home with this one that Will definitely is into Mike. I'm not going to lie, it was kind of heartbreaking, the whole thing of like him like almost like taking a step back and not even saying how he feels, just helping Mike get Elle back.
Yeah.
It was really touching, and it was really heartbreaking, and I'm like, oh, don't do that, because that means you're going to kill him.
Yeah.
You're pulling on the heartstrings now, because it's going to come back in that way in season 5. I can feel it coming.
Yep.
You're going to kill him off, and it's going to be so heartbreaking.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. I think that's probably what's gonna. He's definitely gonna turn evil to some extent.
Oh yeah, like he's going to be, I don't know what you call it, upside down. Whatever happened to Vecna, like where it just the upside down like infected him and took him over. I'm like, it's going to be like that.
Yeah. I was a big fan of what they did with Elle in this series. Like I really feel like they gave her a lot more meat to her story and a lot more stuff to grab onto from an acting standpoint. I thought she killed it, man.
Yeah, the backstory for Elle and her playing into that, and then especially like the one-on-ones with her with number 1, like even before he became Vecna, and just like that setup is, especially as they slowly revealed that story and what actually was happening. The two of them were so good together.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess talking about Vecna, talk a little bit about Vecna. What did you think about that villain?
Vecna was phenomenal. Because the thing is, like, Vecna was almost like not expected. Because it very heavily been hinted at, like in previous seasons, the fact that like the Mind Flayer was like the big bad, and the fact of like, the Mind Flayer's the one that's going to take over, and like, and even when they defeated it, like there was that whole flip to the upside down. I think it was the end of season 2, where we still saw the Mind Flayer there, like, oh, that's going to come back, and it's like, no, he's not the big bad. He's just working for another big bad. The actual big bad controlling everything now is freaking Vecna. Who, like, props to the actor. I don't even know his name, the actor that played Vecna, but he was amazing.
He was phenomenal.
Whether he was playing number 1 and the backstory stuff with Elle and seeing what happened, how he got trapped in the upside down when she opened the rift, how he was converted, seeing them play off each other, and all the horrible stuff he did, like killing everybody at the facility, to like even when he became Vecna, there was this almost acceptance when he got to the upside down of like, this is what I'm meant to do now, which is almost kind of more chilling. Like, it wasn't a freak out transformation, it was almost like an evolution that he was expecting, in a sense, like it, in the way he played it. And then like, he was such a menacing villain, especially with what's her face, Max. And the stuff with her, the two scenes, obviously the running up the hill scene where she escapes, and then the scene obviously when they try to like catch him again and try to play him again, and like it all starts to go wrong, and I'm like, those were so freaking tense. I'm like, dude, I thought she was dead. I thought she was dead.
Max, where she was in the cemetery at her brother's grave, and she was all good. She got locked into the upside down with Vecna, dude. I was like, dude, if they kill her, I'm gonna be extremely upset. Which is a good show. That means the show has you're invested in you're emotionally invested in the characters. They've done what they needed to do. So I get that. But
yeah,
like, dude,
absolutely.
You better not freaking kill Max. You better not.
Absolutely. Like, I was invested in her, and I had a feeling she might survive that one, because even before I seen it, you'd heard the stuff about running up the hill and all that stuff, because that was coming out like as soon as the show dropped.
Yeah.
But see, the second time when she went in and like the house split and stuff, like, I was for sure she was dead.
Yeah.
I did not expect to be a whole thing, like, even though she's blind and stuff and she was brought back and she's obviously been ripped apart by it. I did not expect that. I thought, this is it, she's dead.
Which, speaking of, hashtag rip to the team captain.
Rip nothing, he deserved it.
Pun intended.
He got I don't know, like, he got what was coming to him. He was deserved that.
Dude, I gotta give a special shout out to I'm looking up the actor's name real quick. Hold up.
Oh yeah, for Vecna.
No, Jensen. Well, yeah, that's The Boys. Brett Gelman as Murray. That
Oh yeah, Murray.
freaking dude was awesome. It was awesome. Now that is how you do comedy. Take note. Anybody who's trying to ham-fist comedy into like a drama / action / whatever, this is how you do comedy.
He was perfect for the comic relief in that. He was
perfect.
And him with Joyce and Hopper, like this weird friendship the three of them have developed. Because I love it, because it's a love story of like Hopper and Joyce, obviously, like since season 1 they've been building them up. But the fact that Murray's just been like shoehorned in here, and it works somehow, is like phenomenal.
One of the best parts is when he keeps talking about his karate skills, and they're in the plane, and he freaking wrecks shop on that dude. He wrecks shop.
He does it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, he actually does have karate skills. How did that happen?
He knows what he's doing. Holy crap!
I thought he was BS in the whole time.
Russian. Oh my gosh, that was really cool.
Oh,
I did, yeah. So, I thought the show was awesome. I liked almost everything about it. Again, there was a couple things where I was like, that didn't really add anything to the plot in my opinion.
Yeah, there was a couple of things, and it's like I get that some of it was meant to be an A to B, like we talked about, like Jonathan Argyle with Will and Mike, and it's like it was more of a case of we have to get them from A to B for like when they meet up with Elle and stuff like that, and it wasn't necessity, but like okay, yeah, I kind of get it, but like but the stuff that hit good, like this show was phenomenal, and I'm like and they know what they're doing. Like it's freaking 2 years before we're going to get season 5, the final season, and it's like
the speech between Mike and Elle. I think it was the second to last episode or the last episode, where he's just pouring his heart out to her, and he's like, "You are my superhero." I'm like, dude,
props to Finn Wolfhard. Props to Finn Wolfhard, because I had been done with Mike for like the last 2 seasons. Season 2, he just started becoming this annoying little jackass, and in season 3, like I was so over him.
Well, even the beginning of season 4, I was like,
beginning of season 4, he wasn't even doing anything. Like it wasn't even worth hating at this beginning of season 4. He was like just there.
Yeah.
And then like that stuff that he did and the way that played out was like, okay, you've managed to pull me back. Props to Finn Wolfhard, man.
He's so good, dude. So good. But yeah, I don't know if The Boys or Stranger Things is my favorite show that came out. It's close, man. But I think Stranger Things for me, I think it might edge out The Boys, honestly.
I think it might have for me as well, just because of the emotional level of it. I think like I ended up I felt so invested in Stranger Things when it happened.
Yeah.
Like I felt so invested in the journey with these characters, the journey that we went on. I'm like and don't get me wrong, The Boys was phenomenal as well. We're going to get into that. That was another like, but Stranger Things was like, this has pulled me back in, especially from season 3 being a low point for me. Like season 4 pulled me back in to the point of like it's 2 years until we get season 5. It's not coming out till 2024, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
it's going to be like it's worth the wait. I don't even know what we're doing, but like to get the payoff for all of this, I will wait 2 years.
Dude, I was gutted when it was over. I'm like, that's it.
And it left on such a somber note as well. Like freaking town has been ripped in half.
Yeah, man.
It's like, oh, this is so good, man.
Yeah, it was a fantastic show.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Season 4, you need to watch it.
Yeah, if you guys haven't watched it, please check it out. And for everyone who is hanging out with us, what did you think of season 4 yourself? What did you think of that one? And the other shows that we've talked about as well.
That's for Mallet. He said he was leaving.
You let Mallet know. Alright, so let's get into season 3 of The Boys, because this was a very interesting season. A lot felt like it happened in this.
I honestly don't remember a lot that happened.
Alright, I guess I'm taking lead on The Boys then.
Yeah, you're going to have to take lead. I'm pulling it up right now just to kind of refresh my brain, but
so a lot of the kind of major points that we started off on was obviously we ended last season very somber. Rebecca Butcher died, so the FBI or the CIA that Billy Butcher works for had taken like his son and stuff. We had seen some shift arounds coming up with the 7, or I don't think there's actually been 7 since like episode 1, but whoever's left in the 7. because we got rid of what's her face Stormfront, who had died, or apparently hadn't died, had just been severely destroyed. Nitro remembers only the deep in the octopus thing.
Dude, my wife was traumatized by that part.
It's like, which octopus are we talking about though? Was it the first one or the second one? Because the first one, Justice for Timothy. The second one,
We won't go there.
we're gonna have to. We're gonna be talking about the season. So we come into this season. Terminal Forever being printed about. Yeah, that was a hell of a start to episode 1. Okay, if there's ever a conversation that's going to get us demonetized, it's this part of the podcast. Episode 1 starts out with a couple of shifts. So Huey is now working with what's her face, the senator woman, on a whole thing to take down Soups.
Oh my gosh.
So basically, Billy even and the boys are working for Huey, essentially, catching like Soups that are doing horrible things. And if you want to set the tone for a show, this is one way to do it, where the termite, who can shrink himself down, goes into the back room. I love this. He gave us some of the Black Noir story. Yeah, we're going to get into Black Noir as well. We're going to get into Black Noir and how they changed it from the comics, because that was a big change. But so we get into with Termite, who goes to have some fun times with a gentleman in the background, enters a certain orifice of the gentleman because he can shrink himself down, is apparently arousing the gentleman from that orifice by being inside him, and then sneezed and ripped him in half.
Yeah.
And nothing makes that scene stick more than when you finally see the behind the scenes footage of they literally had like a giant replica end of a, for him to go into, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Like,
gosh,
that scene set the tone for the series right there. It really did. But yeah, so in this season we got a lot of interesting stuff. So we got Homelander. I want to say Homelander very much going down the kind of right. They kind of chose to go right wing nutter with him. And I say this not to pick a fight. I say that because I don't think the boys has ever not made a point that they're kind of more leftist in viewpoints and the right wing stuff is crazy. So I'm speaking from that perspective. I'm not taking a shot at any political stance here, but the boys does, so I have to mention it. Because if you're watching the boys, that's what you get.
Yeah.
So he very much goes down the whole the Donald Trump thing of I can say whatever I want, I can do whatever I want, and people will love me.
Yeah.
Which of course sends him off in one, because we get some great bits early on of him being crazy, talking to himself about trying to get through stuff, and then it clearly becomes, hey, I can literally do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Which eventually culminates in the very end episode of him literally murdering someone in the crowd.
In front of everyone.
And they cheer. So he's very much on a downward spiral of... Well, the downward spiral he's been on for the last 3 seasons, essentially.
Which, huge shout out to Anthony Starr, who basically holds this whole show on his back.
He's amazing. See, between him and Carl Urban as Billy Butcher...
Yeah, Carl Urban, I don't want to forget about him. But
between the two of them, the show is just so amazing.
Yeah. You
invest so much. But yeah, we get basically the downfall of the Seven during this. And the changing of it all, because Vought is basically starting to go down. The head of Vought, played by Giancarlo Esposito, because I can't remember his character name, so I'm just going to mention his actual name because he's amazing.
Yeah.
Because he's playing himself. This is one of the roles of why I can't imagine this guy as Professor X in the MCU, because he does roles like Dan Edgar, because he plays roles like this where he is just an evil SOB and he does amazing at it. He gets ousted thanks to the congresswoman who we'd found out can pop heads. She was the head popper. working with Homelander because she has a power, and she was like the surrogate daughter for him, for Giancarlo Esposito's character, and basically turned on him to work with Homelander. This also starts everyone now realising Homelander's in control. He's now running Vought. Huey has to go back to the boys because he learns that the person he's working for is horrible and is evil and working with Homelander. You get Maeve working behind the scenes to give them information to get out of the Seven, which ends up in a love scene with her and Billy Butcher, which was
really awkward and
really weird,
out of nowhere.
I mean, you could feel the scene building to it, but I'm like, I don't even know if you two have interacted before this, and I'm like, did you just need to get it on? Like, okay.
It was really weird. I mean, it was weird, but I felt like it was out of nowhere.
It did, because it felt really out of nowhere, because I think they spent so much time, like, in the last season, making sure we pushed the fact of, like, hey, Maeve's gay.
Yeah.
And now it's like her and Billy Butcher are just like, okay, there's, like, you've literally spent all this time saying she's not even into guys, she's into women, she's a lesbian, and they've not had interactions. There's been no build up that could say, okay, that would explain it. No, it just happened. Like, okay.
Yeah.
We get, what's her face, Starlight, Annie, leaves the Seven as well. She ends up going off and then ends up joining the boys, and goes on a whole tirade about what actually happens at Vought. But the major story of the whole thing is, of course, the man himself, Mr. Jensen Ackles, as Soldier Boy.
A beast.
Phenomenal in this role. And I love the way that they played the man out of time thing, because obviously, like, Soldier Boy is meant to be an allegory for Captain America anyway. I love the way they played the allegories of that, of him being a man out of time, of like, he's like the 1950s, out of touch with everything. He's the racist, bigoted, like, homophobic, all these things. Like, it just, this is not the world for him.
Yeah.
And he is basically, it seemed like he'd been killed, and actually he hadn't. He'd been kidnapped by the Russians and was still alive in Russia. His whole team, Payback, had turned on him. Including in that team was Black Noir, who were like, these were like the Seven before the Seven. That was a team before them.
Yeah.
And basically, they all ended up like going to a serious like big fight, big explosions went off, and the Russians took Soldier Boy, and Black Noir ended up getting injured, getting brain damage. That's why he doesn't speak. That's why he wears a mask to cover his face, because he used to like have his face out and talk a little bit more, but it didn't go that way. This also leads to Black Noir and realizing, he goes at one point when he finds out Soldier Boy's alive, he literally runs at one point and goes back to a childhood place, which is kind of like a Chuck E. Cheese-esque place, where we find out he sees cartoon characters, which might be one of the best scenes in the entire series, of Black Noir getting encouraged by all these cartoon animals that he knows and grew up with. And they were setting up for him to basically come back and help Homelander take out Soldier Boy, which completely caught off guard when he gets killed, because Homelander finds out that he knew about Soldier Boy still being alive.
Yeah, I knew something was going to happen when it actually happened. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, and not only that, the reveal is made that Soldier Boy is actually Homelander's father. And Black Noir knew, he didn't tell Homelander, and Homelander kills him for it. That's interesting, because that goes completely off of where the boys' comics go.
Yeah.
Which, okay, mute for a second if you don't want spoilers in the boys' comics, if you're reading it because the show got you into it or whatever. In the comics, Black Noir is a clone of Homelander.
I didn't know that.
He is a clone of Homelander, and not only is he a clone of Homelander, he is the one responsible for like all the horrible things that Homelander did. It wasn't Homelander, like the whole raping of Rebecca Butcher and all that stuff. It was Black Noir that did it all. And Black Noir reveals himself in a big fight with Homelander and Billy Butcher at the White House, and ends up killing Homelander. And the last big fight is with this Homelander clone who was designed to replace Homelander if he ever got out of control, and he never did. So he ends up going mad, and that's why he does all this stuff, because if you imagine being this nuclear warhead with a brain that's designed for one purpose, to kill and replace the Superman figure if he gets out of line, but he never does. So you're never able to fulfill the one purpose you were told you were created for. So he goes crazy to create a situation where he can. It's bat crap crazy, my friend. It is absolutely nuts. So they're going a completely other direction with this. I don't know where it's going to go from there, because that's like the big finale to The Boys. But yeah, the whole thing with Soldier Boy is before he makes a deal with Billy Butcher, which also as well, the whole the Compound V stuff that they're taking.
Yeah.
Billy Butcher and Huey start taking it and start getting powers. That's how they help get Soldier Boy out. We get to see Billy Butcher's go full Homelander, like heat vision, strength. He wipes out freaking Soldier Boy's sidekick.
Even though him and Soldier Boy got wrecked the first time that they fought.
That fight was amazing. We'll get to that because Soldier Boy goes and he wants to hunt down Payback. He wants to hunt down his old teammates because they all screwed him over. Billy hands over Crimson Countess, who was his girlfriend at the time, and he basically tears through her, blows her up, and they make a deal like, you help us kill Homelander, we'll help you get all the members of Payback. So they help him hunt down the members of Payback, which leads to the big massive episode Herogasm. Which can I just put it out there as well, by the way, they built that up way bigger than it was.
Yeah.
They built that up on social media. You won't be able to watch this episode. We can't post anything from it. Literally the Herogasm orgy part of it, which is the whole big thing of what Herogasm is. It's a big superhero orgy. Is like 10-15 minutes at the end of the episode. Not even at the end. It's like before the end, because everybody gets flushed out and it ends up being freaking Soldier Boy and Billy Butcher versus Homelander.
Yeah.
And then Huey even jumps in at the end, and the three of them almost take him out.
And then he flies out of the roof.
Yeah, the only reason he gets out is because when Soldier Boy activates his explosive power, it turns off other people's powers. So Billy and Huey's powers start to dissipate, so they can't hold Homelander as strong. So he manages to slip out.
Oh yeah, I didn't get why he got out, but then that makes sense.
So that's the only reason he gets out, and it's such an amazing fight. It's absolutely phenomenal scene.
Yeah.
You also have the whole stuff going on as well with Soldier Boy. The fact of Mother's Milk is whose father was killed, his family was killed because of Soldier Boy doing heroics. And his father spent his life hunting after him, and Mother's Milk is basically encouraged to do the same, to go after him. And it's really cool moments because you see him going after that stuff, and you see him trying to deal with the fact of being a parent and dealing with this stuff, and then you see him
angry.
And then the great moment kind of at the end of it, of him actually talking to his daughter about her grandfather, about his dad, and about how they got there, and about how everything played out, and some really cool character moments for him as well.
Yeah, I really like the dynamic that they had between Mother's Milk and Butcher. I thought that was a cool twist on the dynamic that they had.
It's a really cool one because it changes up the whole thing. He doesn't just blindly follow Butcher. It's no, he's got his own mission, his own thought process behind it.
Yeah, and then when Butcher starts taking the Compound V, that just adds another dynamic to it.
Well, that's the dynamic of him being a soup, and then it's a case of, so you're allowed to do whatever it takes to go after Homelander, but I'm not allowed to do that to go after Soldier Boy. When we've both got the same vendetta. And of course that ends up in the big massive fight at the end at Vought Tower, where phenomenal twist, because you get the whole thing of Soldier Boy calling Homelander to say that he's his father, and he finds out, and it looks like it's going to be this big moment of them taking on everyone.
Yeah.
And he comes up to him and calls him a very not nice name that I'm not going to repeat. And it ends up in this massive fight with him, because he tries to convince him you could be a family, because he's went and got his son at this point. After the whole thing of Billy Butcher blowing up at him. blowing up at Homelander and Rebecca's kid. I can't remember the kid's name. But he blows up at him, so Homelander comes to get him and he goes willingly. And it's this whole thing of family. And then when the kid gets in trouble, Billy stops Soldier Boy. And you get this really great turn of events of Homelander and Billy Butcher teaming up to take on Soldier Boy.
Dude, I did not see that. I did not see that happening.
Was such a cool visual that was totally out of nowhere that I did not expect. It was so well done. And then of course it ends with like Soldier Boy goes to do his massive explosion. Maeve takes him out the window. Looks like she's killed, but she actually survives, and the boys take her and allow her to go off and live her life. Like the woman that runs Vought and stuff, that's actually basically working for Homelander at this point, tells him to scrub the tapes because, you know, we don't want Homelander to know she's still alive. We're just going to move on from this and just So she goes to live her life. Starlight, after selling out everyone at Herogasm, when Mother Milk records her in a live video, she tells her name and starts to tell the truth of Vought. Basically joins the boys full time to help them, because there's still goings on because the senator woman now takes a higher position and stuff, so that's still going on. We have some other stuff going on as well which are kind of more side stories as well. We get freaking what's his face, A-Train. And the whole stuff about like that, him trying to represent Africa, and it's like, what are you doing, man? Like wearing the more African coloured like outfit and stuff.
It's really cool. Like it's a really cool way to show like the commercialization of superheroes and how that would exist in real life, though.
It's cool
because
be
a very real thing if superheroes.
Well, yeah, because they play that up in the comics. Because like when you get into the comics and you start to find out about the teams, like most of these people, like their origin stories are bullcrap.
Yeah.
Like they're given costumes and given names by the company and told that this is your backstory now, and like it doesn't even matter if you are. It's like was I think one of them's like the guy who's meant to be their connection to like the gay community, and like the head of the gay superheroes isn't even gay. Like he's just packaged that way because like we need someone to connect with that audience so we can get that demographic. Like it's all business.
Yeah.
So when A-Train tries to go off the cuff and go against the business, it's like no. It's like you're going to get your costume back on, you're going to do your thing, and then of course there's the whole thing of the, I don't mind his name, the hero, but the racist dude.
Yeah, I was thinking I was trying to find his name.
Like some racist superheroes brought in to speak to the members of the black community, and he gives one of those speeches where it's kind of like, I'm sorry you're offended by what I'm doing. I'm sorry that the facts say that more black people commit crimes than white people, and it's like, oh no. And then it ends up like A-Train's brother gets injured, and A-Train's brother ends up like throwing A-Train out his house and stuff like that. Like he doesn't want anything to do with them, which ends up in a really kind of cool moment of a Herogasm. Like he's there and A-Train shows up and grabs him and like runs and drags him across the asphalt and kills him.
Cool.
And of course he's got Blue Hawk, that's it. He kills Blue Hawk, dragging him across the concrete, only for it to then like his heart to give in because he had a heart condition, and the company still wins because of like they bring him back. Okay, your heart's been fixed, and it's like, how? It's like, we gave you Blue Hawk's heart.
Yeah.
So this racist dude that injured your brother has now got his heart beating in your chest.
Yeah.
And it's like, get your costume back on and get back to work. And it's like, and him also selling out to basically be a lapdog for Homelander. Him and the Deep both like are the last two standing of the 7 that are willing to basically yes sir to Homelander.
Yeah.
Then we also get the Deep's whole coming back to the 7.
Dude, speaking of the Deep, like they make him just the most despicable person ever.
How has he became one of the most despicable yet entertaining characters on the show? Like I love whenever he's on screen, but I also hate him at the same time. Like he's just, he's one of the most entertaining. Props to the actor, like he does an amazing job as a Deep. Like even like the return, like I love the fact he's became a meme. Like the whole, like when he returns to the 7, the whole turn the head thing and walk up to beat Homelander. I love the fact that's became a meme for like so many things. It's like, it's so good.
I don't remember what his name is. I don't know.
But his whole thing is like, when he comes back, we obviously get the infamous scene, like because we get the whole scene of like his wife that he got through the church from last season, is basically like writing all his stuff and all that, and basically using him to get ahead and get to the top of the thing. And they finally do that, and they end up in a kind of fight about it, or even before that. Sorry, to get back in with the 7, they sit down for dinner, and with Homelander and the head chick, and he brings out seafood, which of course he can hear the thoughts of animals, so he's a bit disgusted with that. And then they bring him a very special delicacy. Justice for Timothy, hashtag. You know,
I love the fist.
Timothy, the octopus who he was friends with, is put on a plate in front of him, and he's told to eat Timothy. He has to eat Timothy whole. It's like alive.
Yeah.
See when he bites into him and all that ink squirts out. It's like, oh.
He puts him in his mouth and he goes, he's praying. And he bites down. It's like,
it's actually kind of horrific
it's like
to watch.
Emotionally impactful. A dude eating octopus, but like it was pretty intense.
It was like, it was just intense. And then of course they kind of hinted at him being sexually interested in the octopus, which leads into Herogasm, where he actually is having sex with an octopus.
Yeah.
Which then leads to him asking his wife if she wants a threesome with the octopus. Which is too much for her. She's like, okay, of all the stuff I've put up with, I'm out. Good luck dealing with this stuff yourself. I'm done. That was the final straw for her. So we end up with the Deep and A-Train both back in the 7 as lackeys for Homelander during it.
And he's just manhandling them throughout this season. Just insulting them, and not necessarily Black Noir so much, but man, he gives the Deep a run for his money.
Yeah, the Black Noir's kind of like just as silent when it kind of goes on with stuff, but like, you feel like he could hold his own, but it was just that final straw that turned him on him. But the other two are absolute just cowards and pushovers, are so scared to stand up to him. But yeah, so what were your thoughts then on season 3 of The Boys?
I think one of the reasons that Stranger Things edged out, I almost called it The Lost Boys. The Boys for me.
That's something totally different.
The Boys for me is because I feel like The Boys. I love The Boys, and it's number 2 for me of all the shows that we talked about. But it's a lot. It's really, really intense, and it's super, super dark. And the levity that they bring into the show just amplifies that darkness. Not darkness, it's not the word I'm looking for. It's just really intense. Whereas I feel like Stranger Things does a really good job of balancing stuff out. Like, you have humor, you have action, you have drama, you have horror, and it kind of undulates throughout all those. With The Boys, from the get-go, from episode 1 of season 3 to the very last episode, it is going like 150 miles an hour.
Yeah, The Boys has got no qualms about like this is what the show's about. If you're watching at season 3 at this point, like, you know what you're getting into.
And I get that. I love the show. I thought it was awesome. Parts of it were hilarious. It was really intense.
Yeah, it's very intense. It's very, very intense for it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm really intrigued to see where season 4 goes. Yeah. Like I said, like, they've killed off Black Noir, so it looks like they're not going to go down the comic book road for him. You know, not to mention the fact it was another dude, a black dude under the mask, and it wasn't a clone of Homelander, so it's like very much they're going a different direction with that. But also we end this season of, like we talked about, Homelander coming out to his people, his crowd, and the guy basically, you know, I think it was like, where's your Nazi, such and such, and like, and he kills the guy outright, and the crowd cheers. And not only that, he's also got his son by his side,
and that's also a meme. All right. When Christopher Nolan gets to use an actual nuclear bomb in Oppenheimer. All right.
Yeah. Exactly, and it was such an amazing ending to the show, because basically Vaught's basically fallen to a certain extent. Like, it's definitely not the strength and the powerhouse as what it was at this point, but Homelander is stronger and more popular than ever. And he's also now got his mini-me with him as well. He's got his son, who is just as powerful as him, at his side, learning from him, because the whole blow up with Billy Butcher earlier in the season just set the kid off of ever wanting to be with him. The one other person he kind of liked being around, so he's now 100% behind his dad. So you've now got the two of them setting up as big bads going forward. So it's going to be very intriguing.
Well, yeah, and then you also have the lasting effect of the compound V, which deteriorates your brain apparently. So you got that happening. I can't remember if that was ever addressed at the end of the show with Billy and Huey.
I don't think it was totally addressed because, like, I think it's going to be a fact. Oh, it was.
Oh,
was
yeah,
it not?
yeah, Butcher.
Because Butcher's like dying.
Yeah, they were like, you got.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, because Huey stops taking it after the Herogasm session. He's a talk with Starlight, and he stops taking it. So in the big final fight, he does what he does. He does behind the scenes stuff to try and help them. He doesn't take it, whereas like Butcher takes Compound V again. And this time, it's like he's told basically you're going to die. I think it's like a few months.
Yeah.
That you got a few months left to live. So he's coming into it, which of course he's not told the boys about. So it's like he's coming in when it's like he's probably not making it out alive.
Yeah.
Which
so he's got nothing to lose.
I was going to say that for a Billy Butcher with nothing to lose, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
Because he is a terrifying individual at the best of times. And I'd like to point out as well, like in the show so far, compared to the comic, he's pretty tame. In the comic, he's even more vicious. So I can only imagine what we're about to see from this version of Billy.
Yeah.
One last ditch attempt to take out Homelander and take out the Congresswoman. Like, yeah. We're going to see a whole new level of him, I think, personally. Yeah. But yeah, the show is just 100% is probably the best superhero show and comic book show like out there right now. 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think we were talking about that. Like, that's the thing of why we have such a thing with like all the Marvel stuff going on. Is for Marvel to putting out shows that are just feel very meh. Is like, but you've got shows like The Boys and Stranger Things happening at the exact same time, and I'm like, you've got competition for viewing.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's in so much better level. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's really no excuse. And even a show that came out like a year or two ago, like Invincible, which is amazing. You know,
still waiting for season 2 of that. Still cannot wait for season 2.
When is that coming out? You know,
I don't think we've got a release date for it yet, but it better be soon. That and The Boys on Prime was like, okay, Prime just became the place for superheroes with those two shows.
Yeah.
You know what
absolutely.
I mean?
Yeah, man, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah. Alright, so ranking then out of the 4 shows, we won't count I Am Groot because it's a bunch of shorts and you've not seen it anyway. But out of the 4, what's your ranking then? 1 to 4.
So mine would be Stranger Things. Boys is a close second. Obi-Wan and then Miss Marvel probably. I'll probably put them in that order. But you know, I think for me, Obi-Wan and Miss Marvel are close.
Yeah, I would probably.
I guess depending on the day.
I would probably swap the last two. I think for me, it's definitely Stranger Things. Definitely is the top one. Boys, very close second. Yeah. Like literally, if I was in a different mood, I'd be like, The Boys could probably be the top show easily.
Yeah.
Miss Marvel is a third. I thought it was a solid show overall for what it was. Obi-Wan, I felt like it faltered for me because it wasn't about Obi-Wan. At least with Miss Marvel, I got Miss Marvel. With Obi-Wan, I got a story about Third Sister, who I don't care about. So it was the biggest letdown for me.
Yeah. I get that.
With that, it's like, don't get me wrong, the bits that were good in it, like I said, like the stuff with Obi-Wan and Vader and stuff, were good.
And we didn't even talk about the scene where Vader basically rips the side off of a spaceship when mid-flight. Dude, that was so sweet.
But that's it. The stuff that got good was so good.
Yeah.
But like, and that's my problem. Is like a big company like Disney, with properties that are as recognizable now as Marvel and Star Wars, shouldn't be the bottom tier of this list of shows.
No, they shouldn't.
Sorry, Mallet, Nick Caesar and Boys Damage Control. The crossover we've all been waiting for. But yeah, it's like overall, I think we've gotten some pretty good shows this summer.
Yeah, I mean, this year is just, it's been a banger for shows, for comic book shows and just pop culture shows in general.
There's been some really awesome stuff out there. Don't get me wrong, some stuff didn't live up to par, but the fact that we're even getting them is kind of amazing in itself.
Yeah, I would agree.
But yeah, absolutely, I've loved it, man. Like The Boys and Stranger Things definitely like won it for me. They were definitely the absolute best for it. I absolutely adored those this year. And I think they're probably going to end up being the top shows of the year for me. I don't know of anything else coming out that I can look at and go, that's going to beat it for me.
Yeah, I don't know of any other shows that are actually coming out. Right?
I mean, apart from She-Hulk, of course, because that's going to be the top show for everyone. Right. That's going to be the top show for everyone.
Sure.
And of course, Ironheart as well, which will be coming out soon. And
I'm really looking forward to that one. That's probably top of my list.
Yeah, that was believable. But yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, thanks for everyone for kind of hanging out with us to chat about the shows. Let us know what you thought about the shows we talked about today for over the summer. You can either let us know in the chat here while we're closing out, or hit us up on social media and on Discord, where you can get some good. Oh yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas specials coming out as well. Yay! With Chewbacca's family. But please hit us up on our social media and join us on our Discord as well to keep the conversation going over there. And we're on our Discord pretty much on a daily basis, chatting about something or another. And of course, as we said at the start as well, if you're not following our different YouTube channels, please go ahead and subscribe to them, help support them and get the numbers up on the newer channels. We would greatly appreciate it. To catch up with all the content. The main channel we were on is going to be specifically for the podcast, but there is now a gaming channel, Art of the Hero, which does have most of the older Art of the Hero episodes up there to check out. The rest of them should be out by the end of the week, and then the newest episode that just happened on Thursday drops the following week. So we tried to push it so there's an episode ahead on YouTube. I hate Chewbacca's son. Ads, I felt like great passion in your voice typing that there. It's like I don't know why, I just did. I felt it coming through. So please go ahead and follow them and support. Please also remember as well, join us on September 1st when that's coming out, when we do our first ever D&D stream.
That'd be sweet.
Let me throw it up again for anyone that may have missed it. Mostly because I need to remember the name of the thing myself. The Keep on the Borderlands, the storyline we're going to be doing, it has been updated. At least I'm assuming Tom Levine's updated it. If not, it's going to be a very interesting session. But I'm assuming he's updated it for 5e. And Tom Levine, novelist and comic book writer, is going to be our DM for that session. He's become a good friend of the channel and offered, so we took advantage. And look at those amazing 4 people that will be your PCs for the first session. I mean, they're all pretty good looking, but I mean the one in the middle and the right's definitely the best looking, I'd say.
I mean, look at the shorts on the one in the top left. I mean, that's all you gotta say. Shorts and the Fu Manchu.
Shorts and Fu Manchu with is that a Japan flag?
So I've had that. It's funny.
Like
it's a bandana. It's a bandana that has the Japanese flag and sunburst with Japanese characters. I've literally had it ever since I was a kid. I still have it. I have no idea where I got it. I think I got it when Karate Kid, the first one, came out.
Okay, yeah.
Of course, yeah. So that's what that is.
But please join us on September 1st. I believe it's going to be at 8:30 that night as we do our first D&D session. We are very hyped and excited for it. I'm looking forward to doing some D&D stuff on the channel for a little while now. As of this upcoming week, please join us on tomorrow evening as Jay will be back continuing her playthrough of Stray on the channel. Chances are it's going to be the ending of it. It's not a massively long game, so she's probably going to be finishing it out tomorrow night. Join me Tuesday at 8:30 as well as we play through Horizon Zero Dawn. I will probably be finishing that, if not this week, in the next couple of weeks. As sweep the leg. I just saw that in chat there. That just threw me for a sec. I'll probably be completing Horizon Zero Dawn's main story in the next couple of weeks. I don't think I've got that much left to go of it. And then, are you going to be back on Thursday night?
Yeah, I'll probably be back on Thursday night. I'm leaving for the beach this Saturday. I got some family coming in on Friday, but I should be doing it on Thursday night. I'll be working on some D&D drawing stuff.
Nice.
So, possibly a dwarf.
I'm going to say I've only been working on a dwarf for a little while now. I've only been waiting for my dwarf for like about a month, you know. Just saying.
I mean, you know,
I'm just saying he's drawn 3.
You were going to rush me, but you know, whatever.
I'm just saying he's drawn 3 druids.
Hey, that's my character.
Yeah, that you've changed species of 3 times in the amount of time.
Hey, I was just shopping. Right
Day 1, chose the dwarf barbarian. Still waiting on my dwarf.
all right.
Gonna keep pounding you.
I know you are.
I want my dwarf.
Hey, I live with my wife, so I got to draw hers too. So.
That's true. I was here first, just saying.
I don't live with you.
Challenge accepted.
I mean, we got a spare room, so what are you gonna do?
If you live under your stairs or in a closet or something, you just sneak out every so often now.
Pay no attention to the big burly Scottish man under the stairs.
But yeah, please come and join us for those. We are not going to be here next week, because this weekend, as Nitro said, he is away at the beach, and this weekend, this coming Friday, the 19th, is my birthday, and then this coming Sunday is going to be my anniversary with Jay. So I've got a busy weekend planned, so we are not going to be here. We're not going to be doing the show or anything like that, but we will be back again the following week. In 2 weeks, though, we will be back with the podcast. And it's felt like ages since we've done one because so much has happened the last few months, but we are back with the Indie Comic Book Club in 2 weeks' time. We're going to be checking out Undiscovered Country from two phenomenal writers, Scott Snyder and Charles Snow. So please come along and join us for that. I've absolutely loved this story. I'm really excited to introduce this one to Nitro. So please come along and join us for that. You can go pick it up at your local comic store, pick it up on Amazon or digitally as well, and read it so you can join in the conversation and hear us talking about what we thought of it. That includes you too, Nitro.
Okay, I know I gotta buy it. Dude, I've read so many comics though in the past month. It's crazy.
I've literally got him on this.
Not small ones.
I've literally got him in this indie kick now, where he's like literally hunting for indie comics to read now, and I think I might have created a monster.
God Country, Scott Snyder.
Oh yeah, that's no, Donny Cates.
Donny Cates, that's right.
Yeah, God Country's definitely on the list. Probably some point next year we're going to do God Country. Another phenomenal story.
So good.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this week. Let me quickly have a little look on Twitch and see who's on there. We can go and drop a raid on someone. If it ever loads. Come on, there we go. That really was taking a long time to load there. It was like, no, you're going to stay alive. You dare go away. Hold on, just opening it up to see who's actually on at this time. Ooh, we'll see the Sand Panther. We've not raided him in a bit. Oh, Chunk the Hut is actually on. Let's go and raid Chunk the Hut. I wonder where he was. I thought he was pretty quiet in chat today. It's because he's streaming. Alright, we're going to go out and raid our good friend. He's at the channel Chunk the Hut. Guys, all of you have an absolutely amazing week. We'll see you back here tomorrow night for more Stray. And remember, it's a good week to be a geek. See you all there.
Adios.
Sierra Miedo.